The NBC2 investigators uncover millions of your tax dollars spent after sexual harassment claims against state workers. These government employees claim they were sexually harassed by supervisors, co-workers, or they were forced to work in hostile environments. NBC2 investigator Rachel Polansky spent months studying how the state handles these sexual harassment claims.
It's a big bill that most people probably don't know they're paying for. Since 1997, the state has settled 253 sexual harassment settlements, quietly costing taxpayers $8.2 million.
That's when things started going south.
Behind these walls,
Hey, it was a struggle, though.
there are dark and ugly secrets.
They'd hear the cart and they'd start as soon as we rounded that corner.
Inmates
Cat calling us and all kinds of things.
exposing their genitals and masturbating at nurses.
And when I'd walk by his cell, he'd be doing these nasty things with his fingers and his tongue, and
And nurses
it was horrible.
being told to deal with it.
It was daily, every time we went down there.
Kathy Rudolph worked at the Washington Correctional Institution near Panama City in the 90s. And while bad behavior by inmates may be expected, it's what she says her bosses did that forced her to take a stand.
When you file disciplinary reports and complaints, what did your supervisors do?
Nothing. Basically told us, you're in a male prison, you've got to live with it.
So Rudolph, along with 24 nurses from around the state, filed this class action lawsuit.
I just knew it was wrong, and this was the only way we were going to get anything done.
And after 6 years of litigation, the suit was settled for $1.3 million taxpayer dollars.
More than half of these 253 state sexual harassment suits involve the Florida Department of Corrections. No other agency even came close. But state universities, Department of Health, Department of Children and Families, and Department of Transportation also had harassment claim payouts.
Is it jogging your memory as you're reading some of it?
Yeah.
Rebecca Claypool says she was also sexually harassed on the job in 1997.
Made sexual jokes, comments. Is that what you want to do? Is that how you like it?
She was a toll booth collector in Collier County, working for the Department of Transportation. She says coworkers taunted her and posted sexually explicit photographs in her locker and on her car.
Naked women, naked men. Just stuff that I didn't want to see at work.
And when she reported the harassment to her higher-ups,
They laughed.
eventually she was fired. So she sued for sexual harassment, discrimination, and retaliation. 2 years later, her case was settled for $60,000 tax dollars.
I would say most victims of sexual harassment never come forward.
Adam Horowitz tells me that filing sexual harassment suits against the state has its roadblocks.
When bringing cases against a public entity, there's a couple of factors that don't exist elsewhere in the law.
You have to give the state 6 months notice before filing, your name and your case details become public record, and the government limits how much money that you can be compensated.
Your best day in court, no matter how extraordinary the evidence is, no matter how sympathetic your claim is $200,000 for your client.
Challenges that Horowitz believes act as deterrents, keeping victims from coming forward.
You've got to stand up for what you believe in.
Rudolph and Claypool say they're glad they stood up.
You may lose your job, but you don't lose your dignity.
And they hope their stories will empower others to tell theirs.
They need to start speaking up about it. They really do.
Because what's done in the darkness,
That's why anything I can do to help,
eventually
I will always speak up.
comes to light.
Now, the Florida Department of Corrections tells me that staff and inmates are encouraged to report inappropriate behavior, and all allegations of sexual harassment are reviewed. For more in-depth interviews with Rebecca Claypool and Kathy Rudolph, visit NBC2.com. For the NBC2 Investigators Tonight, I'm Rachel Polansky.